I am Robin, English teacher with Core Languages, and today I'm standing in front of a beautiful lake just outside of Charleston, and I have a question for you. Look at the lake and tell me, how much water do you think is in this lake? You may quickly realize that you cannot really count water unless you're using some kind of a quantifier. I could say gallons of water. I could even call this lake a body of water. And I could say there are 1, 2, 3 lakes, or 1, 2, 3 bodies of water. But I cannot really say 1, 2, 3 waters. In English, there are countable and uncountable nouns, and we need to know which one is which. So in today's video, I'm going to show you some basic uncountable nouns. So the next time someone asks you, how much water is in this lake? You can formulate a perfect English sentence.
A review of countable and uncountable nouns. Countable nouns in English can be either singular or plural. If the noun is singular, it can be preceded by 1, the indefinite article a or an, or the definite article the. If the noun is plural, it can be preceded by 2 or 3 or 4 and so on, but it can also be preceded by some, many, a few, several, and a lot. For example, pen. I could say 1 pen or a pen, or 2 pens, 3 pens, 4 pens, or many pens. Orange. I could say 1 orange or an orange, 3 oranges, 4 oranges, or many oranges. Chairs. I could say a chair or 1 chair, a few chairs, a lot of chairs, 5 chairs or 6 chairs. Uncountable nouns can be a person, a place, a thing, or an object. But we do not use the indefinite article a or an for uncountable nouns, and there is no plural form with uncountable nouns. The quantity of an uncountable noun is indicated with a little or a little bit, a lot of, many, much, and some. There's other examples of units that we can use to measure or count an uncountable noun. For example, glass. We can say a cup or a dish, a container, a bowl, or a bottle. For example, a glass of juice, a cup of coffee or 2 cups of coffee. Food, a dish of food or several dishes of food. Pasta, a container of pasta or a few containers of pasta. Ice cream, a bowl of ice cream or a couple bowls of ice cream. Water, a bottle of water or 3 bottles of water. There are nouns related to food and drinks that are counted by the dish, for example, a bowl, a glass, or a cup, and we use the uncountable noun as a stand-in for the individual units. Uncountable nouns are usually representative of a group of nouns or category, such as clothing, food, water, or feelings. Remember that there is no plural form for uncountable nouns, so the plural endings s and es are not used. We don't use numbers to count uncountable nouns, but instead we use units of measurement. For example, cups, gallons, or liters. We can also use other nouns to help us quantify the uncountable noun. For example, bottle or glass. To form a sentence with a countable noun, the word order would be subject and verb, a number, and then the countable noun. For example, I have 2 bottles. The noun bottle is countable, so I can use a number to count it, 2 bottles. But the same sentence with an uncountable noun, for example, I have 2 waters, would be incorrect. I could either say, I have 2 bottles of water, or 2 liters of water, or I could simply say, I have water. It is important to note that in informal spoken English, you may hear someone ordering at a restaurant say, I will have 2 waters. This is technically grammatically incorrect. Here are examples of what we might say in spoken English, but what is meant. For example, I could say, I would like 3 juices, please. This sentence is technically grammatically incorrect, and what is meant is, I would like 3 glasses of juice, please, or 3 cups of juice. Someone might say, can I get 2 coffees to go? What is meant is, can I get 2 cups of coffee to go? One might say, I am buying a couple salads for us. But what is meant is, I am buying 2 containers of salad for us, or 2 bowls of salad for us. Someone might say, how many waters do you need? What is meant is, how many bottles of water, or how many glasses of water do you need? Here are examples of countable and uncountable nouns side by side. For example, the bike or the bikes, the laptop or the laptops, the watch or the watches, the house or the houses, the mouse or the mice. Each of these nouns can be counted. I could say 2 bikes, 3 laptops, 4 watches, 2 houses, and 3 mice. Here are examples of uncountable nouns. For example, the money. I could say amounts of money, but I cannot say 2 monies or 3 monies. The clothes. I could say the piles of clothes or the article of clothing, but I cannot say 2 clothes or 3 clothes. The air. I could say volumes of air, but I couldn't say 1 air, 2 air, 3 air. The weather. I could say types of weather, but I couldn't say 2 weathers or 3 weathers. The bread. I could say the loaf or the loaves of bread. I wouldn't typically say 2 breads or 3 breads. There are different types of uncountable nouns. We use uncountable nouns for things that come in small particles. For example, sugar. The recipe requires sugar. If I wanted to count the sugar, I could say the recipe requires 2 cups of sugar. We use uncountable nouns for abstractions or feelings. For example, happiness. Happiness is hard to measure. We use uncountable nouns for food and drinks. For example, I buy food at the grocery store. We use uncountable nouns for academic subjects. For example, chemistry. She studies chemistry. Uncountable nouns are used for sports. For example, he plays basketball. And we use uncountable nouns for categories of nouns. For example, furniture. They buy some furniture. Here are examples of sentences that use uncountable nouns that belong to categories. For example, clothing. Her clothing is fashionable. Furniture. What kind of furniture do they sell? Equipment. He needs new equipment for his trip. Luggage. How much luggage are you taking? Here are examples of sentences that use uncountable nouns that come in small particles. For example, dust or a speck of dust. We are waiting for the dust to settle. Rice or a grain of rice. Charlie eats a lot of rice for dinner. Sand or grain of sand. There is so much sand in the desert. Here are examples of sentences that use uncountable nouns that are abstractions or feelings. For example, peace. Peace is a noble cause. Joy. Their lives are filled with joy. Art. I like to create art. Love. Love is a powerful emotion. Here is a list of nouns. Try to figure out whether they are countable or uncountable. If they are uncountable, try to come up with a way that we can measure them. For example, tea. Tea is uncountable. We could say a cup of tea. Popcorn. Popcorn is uncountable, but we could say a kernel of popcorn or a bag of popcorn. Table. Table is countable, and I could say 2 tables or 3 tables. Anger. Anger is uncountable, and I could say a lot of anger. Weather. Weather is also uncountable, and I could say a type of weather. Clothes. The noun clothes is uncountable, and I could say a pile of clothes. Potato. Potato is countable. I could say 4 potatoes or 5 potatoes.
Thank you for watching. I hope you now have a better understanding of how to use countable and uncountable nouns. As always, if you have more questions, feel free to comment, or if you're interested in joining one of our courses with a live instructor, feel free to message us directly. I look forward to seeing you in our next class.